More on exclusion later. On to the backyard. Think about food sources, things like pet food outdoors, not stored in a sealed container. And on this patio, the homeowner puts out bird seed. Trouble is, birds have company at this dinner table.
90% of the people that I go to that feed birds attract rats, especially in this manner. But even in a bird feeder, because the birds kick so much out, the rat doesn't have to come into the bird feeder, all the seed's on the ground.
But even off the ground like this is bad because rats can jump 3 feet straight up and 4 feet horizontally.
It's not hard for him to jump from the ground into the bird seed.
And once Mr. Rat has had his fill, he can easily go back inside the house. From the top,
He doesn't need the tree. He comes over here and has lunch, goes right up the stick. And I would venture to say that the roof overlap here is open. And there's one right there.
or from below, an open vent into a crawl space under the house.
To the rat, a hippopotamus could get through there.
And rats breed like, well, rats. One time the property owner caught 46 rats on the patio alone.
Now I'm looking at the rest of the house as to the sub vents and also the vents underneath the eaves.
These vents look good, no openings. Then a check of the crawl space, which looks intact.
It is intact. So this is not a point of entry. So it seems like the points of entry are on the patio and the front side of the house.
Chris Rodeo started in private industry and then came to the county. In all, 40 years experience. What does all this cost you, the homeowner? Just a very small fee added to your property taxes. Now it's onto a backyard woodpile.
This wood pile is fine because although it's not elevated 1.5 feet off the ground like the codes say, there's daylight on both ends. Rats want total darkness. This does not provide total darkness.
But sometimes plants can. Trim back dense hedges or ivies and tree limbs so they don't hang over your house. If fruit falls off your tree, that can attract rats. Even this old palm tree can be full of them.
The reason I know there's rats in the tree, or at least have been, because there are some rat feces in it. These are old, but because they're old means at one time there was rats in it.
Up in the dense part of the tree, it can be very dark, perfect for rats. Then there's the old wooden shed in the corner of the yard. One time the homeowner covered up a hole but left others. Result? Infestation.
But you can see grease marks right here, and the rat is going in. He probably made this bigger. Looking at it from this angle, I can see indentation of the incisor teeth.
There is another, albeit small, opening at the base of the shed. Once you open the door, you can pretty much guess what it looks and smells like inside.
But this place has really been inhabited by rats. The grease marks right here are very, very black. It smells. You can smell the urine and the feces.
Then an example of what is not a rat haven, a pile of yard cuttings stacked on the lawn.
This, somebody would think, would be a harborage for rats, but it's in the wide open. It does not provide the security that a rat would want as far as a home. Any predator could dismantle these twigs and get to the rat. The rat wouldn't live here. So this is not really a harborage point.
In all, about a half dozen places that need to be fixed at this house. That doesn't sound too bad, but it takes only one open vent, 1/4-sized hole in the garage to start an infestation.
The main thing is on your property is finding the openings. Look at your yard as far as food sources. Eliminate as much harborage as possible, like wood piles, vegetation that produces total darkness, like ivy or bougainvillea or hibiscus or even juniper, like in this front of this house. It gets so thick they feel like they're invincible. They can live right there.
The County of San Diego is not an exterminator. People like Chris simply give advice to anyone willing to listen, willing to rid their realm of rodents. Well, now you know what to look for. Let's say that you're absolutely sure rats are rummaging around your home. What do? Well, remember, the County of San Diego is not an exterminator, but we can offer you a lot of advice to help you become one. A sunny Monday at a Hidden Meadows home north of Escondido. Inside, nice big kitchen, big bathrooms, but something's wrong. Up in the attic, we're not alone. Rats are lurking somewhere in the darkness, and that's a big problem. Just ask the county's Ken Wilson, who'll show you how to set traps.
Rats in the attic is pretty dangerous for you. There are lots of wires up here. There's lots of conduit for your air conditioner and your heater. You want to make sure that you get them out of the attic as soon as possible. They can chew all the wires in your attic, start fires. They can also get inside of your heating system and damage that. Get in your air conditioning vents and your heating vents and urinate and drop their feces and cause a tremendous odor and possibly even disease to you. I've seen so many rats in attics that you have to set 20 to 30 traps and come back 3 or 4 times and set them again and catch rats. One rat can possibly put maybe 10 to 20 droppings down in your attic. So looking at this attic, I will say maybe 3 to 4 rats are in here.
Ken Wilson has been doing this for many years. He tries to help us knock out critters we'd rather not deal with.
Mosquitoes, rats, flies, anything that's a vector.
And when you're vexed with vectors, the county can help with advice.
They need to exclude the rat from the house and then set the traps and monitor to make sure that they've gotten all of the rats out.
The right way to start is to think like a rat and walk around your home. Ken demonstrates.
Okay, looking inside of the home, I want to check for any areas where rats may be able to hide. I'll look in the closets, look for any droppings, look for any structural openings around the edges or up above. Look around any refrigerators to make sure that there's no evidence of droppings behind the refrigerator. Also, in the kitchen, I want to make sure there are no openings in the cabinets or underneath the sink, anything that may attract the rats on the counters of the sink.